You want to wait and see what the Republicans are going to say and what the Democrats are going to say, this side of the aisle, that side of the aisle. It's about their politics of the controvirus, not finding a cure and saving lives. It becomes a political issue, and it's bullshit. So it's that way. We live in a society of defiance and negativisms.
Yeah, but the thing is like, this is what's very weird for the people that didn't grow up in our era. When you were growing up, Jim, I know that if you watch Walter Cronkite or Harry Reasoner, guys like that, they had credibility, correct?
Yes, sir.
And now I'll give you an example. Today, somebody sent me this thing where it said that CBS got busted because they were showing people from Italy in the hospital. In the hospital, and they were saying it was from New York. And I'm thinking to myself, really, CBS, you're gonna politicize this like That's everybody else is? You're gonna risk your credibility over it's ridiculous. And it's permeated everything.
Yeah, it seeps into our business as well. And Disco, you're right. How can you be a true fan and criticize everything you see? What I would do if I were you, Mr. Criticizer, is not watch, because obviously it's upsetting you. And watch, it's pro wrestling, for God's sakes. It's not meant or created to upset you and change your whole goddamn demeanor on your life. It just doesn't work that way.
Right. How much?
I'll be honest. I tell everybody, WWE got me to the point where I don't watch it anymore. Now it's like I've been the rest of this business 27 years. I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody that stopped watching the show. So it's like if people say, "Oh, well, you don't watch," it's like, yeah, I don't watch. I'm telling you why I don't watch. So maybe you would want to try to correct the things that you're doing that wrong that's making me not watch, because there's a lot of people like me that aren't watching. Fix the tone of the show with the promos, and start fighting more when you wrestle. That's, to me, that's the two things. Like, if we address that over the next 4 or 5 years and can get guys that throw in good working punches instead of these forearms, which I can't stand. That's just me. I can't stand the forearms. I like the punches better. And just quit doing so many dives. I mean, like, that stuff doesn't mean anything anymore, Like the funny thing, like I asked you about the reason the matches I think are too long in AEW is because when you do so many false finishes, how often is the pinfall the biggest pop? Mm-hmm. It's like they do a million spots during the match where there's a huge pop and a huge roof. You could get the 1, 2, 3 and blow the roof off at the 8-minute mark, as opposed to doing it at the 14-minute mark and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. That's why I think the matches are too long in AEW. The way they work, they just do too many false finishes, and as a show, it's just like it's tiresome after a while. That's in my opinion.
Well, and you got a right to that. And I don't agree with you, Disco, but I appreciate and respect your opinion. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm not going to go on a Twitter tirade. And
please block him on Twitter, Jim, for that comment. Jim, let me ask you. I got to ask you a question about your book, though. Quick, I was reading this thing here where it says that you discuss the fracture of your relationship with Vince. What do you think happened there between you two, without giving too much, because you want people to buy the book?
Because JR could be a giant pain in the ass, fellas, and he had a good-sized ego, and I was fighting to keep my spot. And I knew that the hand that I was dealt with, being Southern, being fatter than TV likes, and having Bell's palsy where I can't smile any longer, that I didn't fit the mold of what they were building and what they wanted to grow with. So I always had this edge, this chip on my shoulder, and sometimes I was easy to manage, and sometimes I wasn't. And Vince and I did have philosophical differences. In other words, I wanted to run the wishbone; he wanted to run the spread. Type deal. We both love the game of football. Right. You know what I mean? But we had different philosophies. But
that's a great analogy.
You're Oklahoman, he was Texas.
Yes, but look, he made me a great living and a good quality of life I have, whether I have AEW or not. Thank God I did meet Tony Khan, and I'm working there. But that was all it was, guys. It's just philosophical stuff. Vince and I still communicate. We laugh at things. We he's been really busy with his stuff. There's WrestleMania season, which it doesn't sound like it or feel like it, but thanks to this goddamn virus. But not the WWE's fault, but just the virus thing. And so that was kind of the deal. This book talks a lot about Vince and my relationship, my wife's role in my life during that time as the head of talent relations, and the role she played behind the scenes that nobody knows about. The fact that I over-medicated, I self-medicated. And there was a time there where Ambien wasn't enough. I took Ambien for 10 years. It's a temporary thing for insomnia. So then when Ambien wasn't enough, I'd add a Xanax to it. And when that didn't work for me, I'd chase it with Crown Royal. So you do that for a few years. You straighten your ass up. You get to work. Then you come back home and you detox the stress and the pressure. And I've had every neurologist I've ever seen. The reason you've had 3 bouts of Bell's palsy is because of the way you process stress. And that's just my DNA. I didn't blame anybody for it. I'm not blaming my mom and dad. It's my DNA. But and then I got wise to that situation, and no more. I don't do any more opiates whatsoever, and thank God for that. But that was a lot of Jan's doing to get me.
You know, cannabis is legal over there in Oklahoma now, right?
Medical, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I know about that. So it's good. But the book comes out Tuesday, and it's you can get it at my website, jrsbbq.com. That gets you it has a free shipping offer, which is cool, and a personalized autograph. I've been doing those today. And in the last 2 days, we sold almost 1,000 books on my website.
Well, tell me, we still haven't said the name of the book.
Under the Black Hat.
Under the Black Hat, there we go.
Yeah, you should read it. Reading's good for you.
Mm-hmm. Joe had it. I already saw it. Joe had it on the thing here. I know what the name was. I just want to make sure we got out there. Like, so people aren't Googling JR's book. You know? And
you get it at Amazon as well. So but I think it's the most compelling read that I've written. It talks about the Attitude Era, the original XFL, all these changes going from Raw to SmackDown, and then disappearing, then getting hired back, and then disappearing, and then all these things. And just you don't realize the toll it takes on you emotionally, depending on how you're wired. If I didn't give a shit, fellas, if I didn't care about my work, if I didn't care about this business that we are all in, then it would matter nothing. It wouldn't mean nothing. It's fiction. But it did mean something. I didn't play a character. I was me. For better or for worse, I was me. And so when things like that happen, it affected me more than I should have allowed it to. And I write all about that, and I think it's a hell of a compelling read in that regard. And Paul O'Brien and I, my tag partners in Ireland, that's a hot tag waiting to happen, right? So, but we got it done, man. It's number 1 on Amazon's pre-sale. It's the number 2 book is the number 2 new publication is the audio book. So I'm blessed with that deal. So it's a tribute to my late wife. It's a tribute to the business. It talks about my run at WWE and all the way up to me leaving WWE, my contract expiring, and one day, the next day, AEW was here and I signed, and here we go.
You know, as a fan and someone who's already been lucky enough to read it, I would say fans always talk about the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, right? And I think now on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling autobiographies, I would say Foley, Jericho, Bret Hart, and Jim Ross. His books are that good, so I couldn't recommend it enough.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you very much. I hope folks try it and check it out. It's a interesting read.
Yo, man, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show and talking about some of the stuff that you went through with the opiates and all that. Probably a part of you that a lot of people didn't know, and talking about your vulnerabilities. Also owning up to that you were very difficult to work with, and we all know Vince was super difficult. Also manning up, because everybody's always pointing fingers, man. I don't need to tell you the respect that we have for you on this show. You're the greatest to do it. You and Gordon Soley, as far as I'm concerned. Remember the old tagline, so long from the Sunshine State.
What's your Twitter, Jim?
JRSBBQ.
Cool.
But anyways, I want to make sure that everybody gets their Under the Black Hat. Where can they get that, Joe?
Amazon at JR's website, jrsbbq.com. I got mine at walmart.com. So anywhere that sells books, you can find it.
I'm gonna read it, have you autograph it, and bring you back so we have another reason to chop it up with you, JR.
Love to, man.
And everybody go out there, get that book. Go ahead, D.I.
Just real quick about your book. Did somebody approach you to write a book, or did you come up with the idea to write a book and then went approach and try to find publishers?
Well, I had the idea to write a book. We had Slobberknocker was the first one, and we used Skyhorse Publishing on that one. But then Slobberknocker did so well, knock on wood, and thank the God, good Lord. I pitched Simon & Schuster, and I had a friend that went to work there, and he was a big wrestling fan, and I've known him forever. And I said, look, I got an idea to write another book. If you guys are interested, let's talk. If you're not, I'll move on. I can go back to Skyhorse. And so Simon & Schuster's doing it. It's the difference in night and day. It's the difference in working in AEW and working the bingo hall every fourth Thursday of the year, type deal. So
I could hear every old school wrestler that just heard this on the podcast going, "Hey, brother, JR's got that Simon & Schuster hookup." Right? Oh my god.
Hey, Jr., do you want to hear our rendition of of a wrestler? I'm of a perfect wrestling scenario that you've probably seen and heard. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna do with Disco. Hey, Disco. That fucking Kevin Sullivan, fuck him. If I ever see him, I'm gonna beat his ass. That two-faced motherfucker.
Hey, you know, Sullivan's got the book in Florida.
You got his number?
That's exactly the truth, man.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my god.
JR, bro, we love you, man. Fucking national treasure in our industry. Say what up to Raphael Moore before me and Dirty Keith Mitchell.
Okay, man. Thanks,
All right.
guys. I really appreciate your help me sell this damn book. Appreciate
All right.
it,
Thank
guys.
you, Jim.
Thank you,
Thank
my
you
man.
very much.
Peace.